Dr. Brown, I can see you.
Well, hello. Now
Hello.
that you are
Haven't
sitting,
seen you in forever and a
I
day,
know
or five
we can
minutes,
begin.
whichever came first.
Um,
Nice to see you again, no
Lovely,
matter.
as always.
I
Now,
understand
I
you
thought,
have like this fascinating story you want to tell me,
yeah,
and it's starting off rather well.
it is. You
Does it
see,
involve a travel mug of any kind?
no, it involves a driver's license. You see, last time I talked
I
about.
don't think you have told me that you're recording this, so you could be in legal
Let me
jeopardy,
point
as it were.
out, just to avoid legal snags, I am recording this.
And I acknowledge that you're recording this.
Excellent. So
You
now I
wait,
have it
wait.
on
You
record.
you actually have a driver's license?
I do have a driver's
All
license.
right. And there's a story
Now,
that goes with it.
there's a story that goes with it. So here's the thing. Last time we talked about the curious incident of the sandwich bag at midnight.
Sandwich
I
bag,
thought,
yes, which we subsequently found out is called a pouch. We talked about
yes, we
this
did
Saturday
find out.
night.
You, no, no, no. I should not say we. I should say that this was entirely due to your sleuthing activities.
Yes,
We
well,
found out
and that
the
was
item
purely by accident because this arrived, this beautiful
martelé.
Mont Blanc Martelet pen arrived on my desk Monday morning uh, from the Netherlands, I should say. You might imagine who sent it to me.
La Couronne, no,
No,
Appelboom. I put you in it there, didn't I?
you know who sent it. Anyway, it
Of
came
course.
FedEx. It came FedEx, and I looked all over the packaging just to get the real name of this sandwich bag, and it's just a pouch. It's called a pouch.
Well, now
So,
we know.
for anyone who didn't know, who was still wondering, FedEx calls theirs a pouch. And since you were dealing with FedEx, the sandwich bag took the place of the pouch.
Indeed.
And you didn't like the word pouch, and I pointed out that it reminded me of marsupials. But then we went down a rabbit hole. A rabbit not
True.
being a marsupial. Did you have a story about a driver's license?
Yeah. Did you actually sue FedEx for dropping your pen 400 times? Because it looks like it's a bit
Yes.
dinged up, isn't it?
Actually, I thought it looked as if someone took a hammer to it.
Yeah,
And
it looks a bit
we
like it.
should point out that this is a hammered pen. Not that it's
Yes.
drunk in any way.
It could
Uh,
be.
it could be. Uh,
Birdie, it's continuing that theme.
but it's beautiful pen. Beautiful pen. I have
You
to
like
thank
it?
I have to thank Yost for sending it. He sends things quickly, let me tell you.
He
What's the
does.
name of his company?
Appelboom.
Yeah, how do you spell that?
Hashtag boom.
Hashtag bomb.
Appelboom. The F is silent, as in pot.
The F that you didn't even put in there.
Exactly. That's why I didn't put it in. It's silent.
Anyway,
Anyway, let's continue
ouch.
with that story.
We'll just conclude the last anecdote, story, long-winded narration with the understanding that those sandwich bags are really called pouches. And
Pouches.
now you're going to regale us with a story of, and who doesn't have a story of the Department of Motor Vehicles?
Exactly. So, as I arrived in Canada a while ago, I took a written test and I took another a driving test because the province of Ontario would not recognize a Dutch driver's license
Nor should
as
they.
a driver's license. So exactly. So I had to do this. Fine, I did this. Then I moved to Alberta for work, which, if you don't know, is quite a long way away from Ontario. So I initially did not exchange my driver's license because there's actually some wording in the law that states that if you're only here as a temporary worker, which initially I was, you should not exchange your driver's license. They don't like it. I don't know why, but they don't like it. So I didn't. But then I got a position here, which would be 3 years at least. So I thought I now could be considered a permanent inhabitant of Alberta. I should get this fixed. So I was at work. I quickly look up, what do I need to do this? They say bring identification and bring proof of living in Alberta to a license place, and that's it. So I think, well, I have my Ontario driver's license. That is a photo ID. I can quickly print a rental lease, and I'll take it to the license place. So I did.
Okay,
I
I'm going to stop
arrived.
you here with one question.
Yes.
As I understand the story you are telling, you already have a driver's license from one province
In
in the
Canada,
country of Canada. Okay.
Ontario,
And
indeed.
there were no problems really, except for having to
There
take a
is
test. The problem that you're about to present us did not happen in
is a whole
Ontario.
new problem.
Okay, did not happen in Ontario.
It did not happen in
All
Ontario.
right. So you go to, now I
I
called it a
go
Department of
to,
Motor Vehicles. You called it something else.
yes, there are,
Licensing department, I think you said.
yeah, in Ontario, you have Service Ontario, where you go for these things. And for really important things, you go to Service Canada, which is sort of nationwide, as I understand it. But I have not seen such a thing. There's also Service Manitoba, another province, but I don't see Service Alberta. So I think things are arranged a little differently here, which is fine.
Well,
So you go to a
perhaps,
place that does licensing. So it's called, in this particular case, it was called One Stop License Shop, which I like the name of. So I thought, let's go there. They also renew your license plate. You can take driving tests there. And I thought, of course, I'm going to avoid at all costs having to take yet another driving test. I just want to exchange the license, but should be an issue. I arrive. The place is open till 6. I leave work at 5. It is Red Deer. It's a small town, so it is a 5-minute drive. I darken the door of the one-stop license shop at 5 minutes past 5. There's a small lineup at this point, which is nothing compared to Ontario, where there would be 50 people in line at least. Here, there were 3.
Understood. 3,
So,
okay.
my turn rolls around rather quickly, and in front of me, to set the scene, is a desk with 3 ladies. One is about to retire, as in go home, and the other one that was helping me probably was about to retire because she looked like she was about 65 years old. So just this is the situation has now been sketched. This is where I am. You find me as Barry Brown in One Stop License Shop on Gates Avenue, facing
in Red Deer.
In Red Deer, in Alberta, in Canada, on the world in the universe.
The stage is set, Dr. Brown. Let the acting begin.
Is set. What do you call that? The stage is set.
The stage is set.
I say to the lady, hello, good evening.
As one does.
As one does. How are you? She says, I'm all right. I said, okay. How are you? I said, well, I should do the voice again. She said, how are you? I said, I'm okay. Here's my issue. I have been temporary worker in Alberta, and now I'm, as far as I know, permanent resident. I need to exchange my driver's license. And I understand that this is a place that can do that. Yeah, we can. Do you have a passport? I say, no, I have an Ontario driver's license. Yeah, but do you have a passport? I said, well, no, but online it said that I only needed photo ID. So I thought my Ontario driver's license, which, as far as I know, is government issued and has a photo on it of me, would suffice. No, it don't. You need a passport.
This is a short story.
Yeah, so I think, well, okay, I can now go home. It said, wait a minute, as I'm no longer an alien in these quarters, I said, well, I actually have a permanent residence card.
Oh.
A what? A permanent residence card. A what? A permanent, I'm serious.
Take it out and show it to her, Brown.
A permanent residence card. I can't hear you. I have. I quickly caught myself, but it was close. I said, I have a permanent residence card, and held it up to her. Oh, all right. Yeah, that should work. You don't have to shout, though. I thought, oh, it's going to be a long day. So I said, okay, this will work. Yeah, it'll work. No, I understand. I mean, it's okay if that. What gets under my skin is if I need a passport, then don't put government issued photo ID on the website,
No,
but
that's
a passport.
completely incorrect.
But okay.
Or put it with an asterisk. But you didn't go over that with her, obviously.
One moves beyond these things.
Yes.
And I said, okay. Do you have proof of residence? I say, yes, I have a rental lease. Can I see it? Yes, I give it to her. This is a copy. I said, well, yeah, I've just printed it. Yeah, no, it has to be the original. I said, well, to be honest, there is no original. because I signed this lease in Ontario, and then I scanned it, emailed it back to the rental company. There is no original. Oh, it's a problem. I said, well, what do you want me? What would you? Well, what about a utility bill? I said, yeah, I can probably online. I can find utility bill, but I don't have it on. I don't have a hard copy. No, that's all right. I said, okay, well then, of course, then you can't find it. Just go through your email. They couldn't log in. I couldn't. I said, wait a minute. What about a phone bill with my address on it? Yeah, but it has to be a landline though.
Yeah, not a cell phone.
I said, that's no problem. I have a landline because it's connected to our I said, actually, it doesn't matter. I have a landline. Really? That's rather uncommon these days. I don't remember the last time a person came in who had a landline. I said, well, I have a landline, so it doesn't really matter. Let me show you. Look it up. Of course, another 5 minutes. Fortunately, there's no one behind me. Another 5 minutes. I showed her. I said, look, it's on my phone, but this is... Oh, yeah, that looks all right. All right, so we have permanent residence card, landline.
Was she actually a member of a Monty Python skit, or
no? But
are you embellishing?
That's the overall.
Okay, all right.
User enjoyment, so to speak.
Yes.
I said, okay. So now we have everything. The board is set.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's going to comply with your wishes to the best of her ability.
Exactly. To the best of her ability. So one can only pray it is adequate ability.
She's not seen your name yet, has she? You presented her with identification.
Oh, no, the name is, don't worry. She starts to type. Now, people always do this with them. Similar. It starts to type. And she says, you have a lot of names. I say, yes. I had slightly overzealous parents when it came to name giving. And I do have 4 first names, which I guess are not really first names if there's 4 of them. But anyway, one of them is the first name, then the second name, the third name, and the 4th name, and then there's my family name. Yeah. Now, I get disturbed when people make that noise because you know something's going to go wrong. No. What do you mean? No, you're not in the system. I said, well, what system?
What system? Yes, what system?
You see, I can look in the Ontario system. Are you not in it? I said, well, I just gave you my Ontario license, so I'm pretty sure that I'm in it.
I'm in it.
I was about to say, unless it's a forgery, but I thought for legal reasons,
don't do that. Don't do that.
I said, so, I can tell, but you're not in it. I said, okay, well, what is the issue? Well, I'm looking for Stephen Brown. Mine's about 500. I said, yeah, but I'm not Stephen Brown. I'm Stephen Brendan Ronald Eric Brown. Yeah,
plus, isn't there a number on your driver's license?
I don't think that worked that way, but there is. But I don't know if that could be input into the system. I said, okay, so we have now concluded I'm not in the system. What do we do? Well, I gotta find you. We can't proceed unless you're in the system. I said, okay, well, can you search for Stephen, Brendan, Ronald, Eric? Because I can pretty damn well guarantee you there's only going to be one Stephen, Brendan, Ronald, Eric Brown, born on February 20. No. Perfect. Too many names.
How about Stephen Brendan? And what is actually printed on the driver's license that you have, Dr.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't remember, and I had to hand it in.
You never got it back.
Names on it. In any case, she's tapping away. 5 minutes pass, 10 minutes pass. Nothing's happening. I don't know what she's doing. I think I'd better ask a colleague. I said, yeah, one wonders if that would not be the best course of action in this given scenario. Marjorie!
This Marjorie who's gone for the day already?
Marjorie comes over.
The situation explained to Marjorie.
Yeah, so indeed, to cut the story a little short, so she explains to Marjorie, he's not in the system.
Oh, yes,
Marjorie.
I'm in the system, madam.
Yes.
You just
No, I'm
can't
in the
find
system.
me.
Now, the interesting thing that happened here is that I have the suspicion Marjorie smoked a lot. So Marjorie says, "Why don't you just look for Stephen Brendan?" And she said, "Oh, as opposed to Stephen, Brendan, Ronald, Eric." Yeah, just look for Stephen Brendan.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So she does it. All right.
Did Marjorie stay there, I hope?
Yes, Marjorie stayed there.
Okay.
She smelled like she just had a smoke, but I was happy. I was happy to smell that because it meant that there was someone present who seemed to have a firmer grasp on reality. So that was very useful. So Marjorie's suggestion was good because I then showed up in the system as, I think, Stephen Brendan R.E., February 23rd, 1985. She confirmed that with me. So I thought, good. This has only been 25 minutes. I think I may be out of here before dinner time.
But there's a problem.
Yes. So she says, all right, thank you, Marjorie. No problem. I think I can manage from here. Let me see, put you in. You don't fit. I was about to say, I'm not that big, but I thought that would be inappropriate. So I thought, well, I don't, what do you mean I don't fit? You don't fit. There's not enough space. I said, well, yeah, if you don't fit, then the logical thought was there is not enough space, but what is there no space for? Is it my names? Yeah, it's your names. I said, well, I should write my parents a letter and explain that this was unacceptable.
You did not say this.
But I swear, I said
that. Did you say that?
I said, but in the meanwhile, what do we do? Well, I think the best thing to do is to only put in a subset of your names.
You mean like initials?
I said, yeah.
Initials, Brendan, right? R.E. Brown?
Which one you want to keep? I said,
Edward. Well, did you say Edward? Please tell me you said Edward.
Yeah, that would be hilarious. I said, no, I think Stephen, Brendan, R.E. would make most sense. Yeah, I think so too. I said, but now that I think about it, maybe Stephen B. Ronald E. would kind of mix things up a bit. I don't know if that's possible. I said, what do you mean? I don't know. I don't know if you can have an initial before a name. I said, well, what about F. Scott Fitzgerald? No, I can't do that. That's not your name. I swear, Eric. I said, okay, terrible idea. How about we go with Stephen Brendan R.E. Brown? Yeah, let me check.
You mean exactly how you had it in Ontario?
Pretty much, I think so. So she says, yeah, Brendan R.E. Yeah, it fits.
Okay.
It fits. I said, that's magnificent.
There's that word again.
Yes. Oh, yeah, it keeps coming back.
Different program, sorry.
I said, excellent. She said, yeah, no, I need to print this form. You need to sign it, and I need to put it back in the system. I said, okay, let's do that.
Whatever you need to do.
At this point, it's 5:45. I've been there for 45 minutes.
Have you paid any money yet?
I have not paid any money yet.
Okay.
So she prints off the form. I sign it. She said, okay, thank you. No, I just put it back in the system. Tippity tip tip tap. Wait, no.
Wait.
No, this won't work. I said, what? What will not work? Well, I put in Stephen Brendan R.E., but the R and the E are not capitals. I said, so it pretty much now says Stephen Brendan Ree Brown. Yeah. I said, no, that will never do, will it? No, because imagine that you're driving and a police officer stops you and they see the R and the E and they are not capitals. They may wonder what it is. I said, well, to be fair, I think if the police officer pulls me over, I will have larger issues than being bothered about the R and the E being capitals or not, but indeed it should probably be clearer. Yeah, no, I'll do it. I'll change it. Only problem is you already signed it. I said, well, can I annul that and sign it again? Yeah, it's no big deal. I just want to point it out. So I'm very happy you did so. Now, could you maybe put in the R and the E in capitals? Yeah, well. Prints it off, hands it over to me again. I sign it. She says, oh, no, let me put it in the system. No, wait.
Oh, wait.
I said, what is it now again? Well, I think if they are initials, it should be Stephen Brendan space capital R full stop space E full stop. I said, so there were no periods behind the R and the E. Yeah, no, I think that's wrong. I think there should be periods. I said, why don't we
Try it again.
just for the fun of it, try it again. And I sign it again. Yeah, all right. Print.
Did you get this woman's name?
No, it wasn't Marjorie.
No, it wasn't Marjorie. Pity.
I forgot. So I print it off, sign it. She prints it off. I sign it. I hand it back to her. She puts it in the system, and it's fine. And now my driver's license says Stephen Brendan RE. That's actually R full stop, E full stop, and that's the end of it. And she said, "I hope this will work." I said, "Well, I hope so too. But what else can we do? I mean, I can."
What do you mean you
cross
hope
out
it'll work?
E, just pencil in Ronald Eric if it makes a police officer happy. But I think this is all we can do. He said, yeah, I think so. Thank you for your patience. At this point, it was 6:15. I swear to God, I was in there for 3/4 of an hour.
That's nothing, Brown. I don't know what kind of DMVs you deal with, but it's usually hours. So yes, your story is maddening and humorous at the same time. But don't try to say it was a long time you waited at a DMV, because everyone has. You don't go for less than 2 hours, no matter what, and usually it's 3 or 4. Now, I have a question.
Yes,
Did
sir.
she just hand you a piece of paper or a brand new license?
She handed me a piece of paper in a very odd format. One would expect something that, like those little credit card, like you cut out, the temporary license. It was something about this size. Now, people don't know this is my phone. I'm sure will give you an idea. This was about this size. So it was too big to put in a wallet. But anyway, I had that, and within whatever, I think, ideally within 10 days, but no longer than 30 days, I should have my license, and it did indeed appear in the mail. No issues. It worked.
And it had the picture that you took in Ontario.
No, no, a new picture
So
was taken.
You didn't talk about the picture
I
taking
left
part.
out that part. I forgot about it. No, it's good that you mentioned that, so I can talk longer. So the lady
Music
at some
to my ears.
before Marjorie came onto the scene, she called out Marjorie. Marjorie wasn't there, and she said, "I know what we can do. We can take your picture." And I said, "Good," because in my Ontario picture, I kind of looked like something like crossover between a serial killer and a gorilla. She said, "Why?" I said, "Well, I was sick that day." "Oh, that explains it." So we took a new picture, and that is now on my driver's license.
And that went off without a hitch. You weren't too tall.
Strangely enough, yeah, I just sat on a chair in the middle of their little sort of cubicle-like area. It was a bit peculiar, but it worked. It worked fine. The picture, I was going to say the picture device, but I suppose that's called a camera. The camera worked fine, and there were no hiccups. My name fit in the photograph, so to speak. My face did, so everyone was happy.
Very good. Very good. So this is the continuing adventures of Professor Dr. Brown in Red Deer, Canada.
Dear. Yeah.
Yes, well, there's some cultural differences.
I thought it was fantastic.
This time that you spent speaking with the woman whose name you do not remember, did a line continue to form? Were people, because now you've left only one other person to help the public at large, did a line form, or is just...
Fortunately, I was so close to closing time that the only person I felt very bad for, but who entered after me, was a relatively young and soft-spoken Indian girl who came in and took her driver's license and her test, I mean, and she, after we know what happens when you pass the test, you have to go to this booth and then you have to go to there and you have to do this and that. And she was being sent from one bit to the next, but I'm not 100% sure she understood the instructions. And I think she was a little too soft-spoken to ask what was expected of her. So she kept sliding kind of like a crab back and forth, or actually from side to side between two little desks. And I'm very happy that in the end she was done and she got her license. That's always a big thing.
But she was the only other person in there. So.
She was the only other person, and I'm happy. I'm glad I went that time because also it was closing hours, so they wanted to go home. Imagine I would have done this in 9 a.m. Would have been there. I might still be there.
Yeah. And you'd have a different story, a completely different story.
I would.
Will you continue living your life there in Red Deer and taking notes so that we can live Red Deer lives vicariously through you?
The Red Deer Chronicles.
As it were.
Yeah, these were the simple pleasures of getting a driver's license.
That you now have.
That I now have. Yes,
there you
and
go.
That works.
So it's a happy ending.
It is a happy ending.
Happy ending. And
yeah.
Bully.
All's well that ends well.
All's well that ends well. And you had a little bit of fun. You weren't terribly irritated, were you?
I mean, was.
It's frustrating, but
no. Initially, I caught myself, and then I started to look at the hilarity of what was going on. Like it just how like. And then Marjorie came on scene, and she talked like that. It's not much of an exaggeration, and it was magnificent. I enjoyed every bit of it.
Magnificent. It's the word of the day.
Magnificent. Yes. All right. Well, that was all I had to bore you with.
Very good. Very good. Yes. Now, the woman at FedEx, the sandwich bag lady. I'm picturing the sandwich bag lady and the motor vehicle lady having like afternoon tea together and talking about you, probably recording it so that they can put it on YouTube. And in what fact, they say about you, I have no idea.
We should act it out. Just wear a dress and.
Next time we see each other, live and in person.
Yeah. No, I think it's great. Yeah, we should.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure, as always.
And I shall cease the recording. This was another half hour. We already wasted an hour and a half of our lives doing all this stuff today. So I shall.
As I always do.
Bye.
Bye.